One day, the enemy called death will reach down to your house. He would jump on his pale horse and he would traverse across the universe, and he would tie his horse up to your door, and he will peer in your window, and when it is time, he will take you and you will die and you will go somewhere. Do not let it be hell. Please, I beg of you, don't let it be hell. I ask you, don't let it be hell. Let us stand.
Hundreds of people turned out tonight for the unveiling of a very controversial statue.
Yeah, it really is. The Satanic Temple of Detroit revealed the one-ton bronze statue. Their message, they say, more about laws protecting religious freedom than about Satan. Priya Mann joins us live. Priya, I know there were some protesters out there this evening. Did the event remain calm?
Steve Sander, Detroit police say this was a relatively peaceful event. There were a few protesters early on that tried blocking the doors so people couldn't get in to get tickets. They were told to step back, which they did. The Satan statue will be unveiled tonight at a secret location. As a small group of protesters prayed, hundreds waited for tickets to the unveiling of an 8-foot-tall bronze statue of a goat-headed Satan. Most of the people here agree with the teachings of the Satanic Temple, the group responsible for the event.
It's here, it's in Detroit, and this is fantastic that we get to experience this and we get to see this amazing statue be unveiled for all the world to see.
Many tell us they feel misunderstood and are quick to point out they do not worship the devil.
Mostly about individuality. So the one thing I don't like is the backlash, but they have no knowledge or have no ears open to listen to it.
In the name of Jesus! Lord, remove them! Protesters took the heavy rainfall as some sort of sign and even brought their own statue of an angel crushing the devil.
Western culture, Western civilization was built by the Catholic Church. So for them to come out and want to make a statement that all of this is horrible and it's rotten, they don't. I feel sorry for them. I really, really feel sorry for them.
Well, I think it's like an unabashedly anti-Christian event, but, you know, I have no problem with that, just like I don't really have a problem with protesters standing outside telling me I'm going to go to hell.
The unveiling here in Detroit is historic. The Satan statue has never before been seen publicly. The Satanic Temple says the statue is a symbol for what they advocate, the separation of church and state.
The one-ton bronze sculpture costs more than $100,000 and features a goat head. Ticket holders were given a location where hundreds of people show up for this, including both supporters and protesters. But invitees were then given a second secret address where the statue is actually located.
This country was based on religious freedom, and tonight in what the temple is doing, this is a celebration of true religious freedom.
Now, it's important to note that the Satan statue will not stay here in Detroit. The Satanic Temple wants to take the statue to Arkansas. At the state capitol there is a monument to the Ten Commandments. They want to put the statue next to it as a form of protest. So again, the Satan statue will not stay here.
In the Northeast, lightning set this tree on fire. A viewer took this video just moments after the flames ignited. Fire crews rushed to respond, but luckily it didn't spread to the nearby home. And with lightning, of course, comes thunder. Did you hear that shriek? That's how loud it was all over town. And here's some more images of today's intense lightning. Check out this one from the Northeast Heights of a bright bolt coming straight down. All of these powerful images were posted to our U.Local page. This one's from the Northwest. A bright lightning bolt against a very dark sky with a rainbow trying to shine through. But it wasn't just lightning causing problems. Heavy rain made driving very dangerous, especially on the west side and in Rio Rancho, where it poured for a solid half hour. All are powerful reminders that monsoon season isn't done with New Mexico yet.
The action was retaliation for a series of recent attacks. On Monday, a man linked to the Islamic State group carried out a suicide bombing in Turkey, killing 32 people. The militant group followed that with an attack that killed one Turkish soldier near the border with Syria. On Friday, Turkey launched an earlier air raid targeting the militant stronghold in Syria. The Turkish Prime Minister's office has released a statement saying that the air offensive was accompanied by shelling from the ground. The statement says the militants are threatening the country's security. The statement also says the Turkish military bombed the strongholds of the Kurdish separatist group, the Kurdistan Workers' Party, in neighboring Iraq. A member of the party killed a Turkish police officer amid growing anger among Kurdish people that the Turkish government is not doing enough to deal with the militants.
This morning, more than a dozen earthquakes have rattled Alaska's Aleutian Islands.
At last check, there have been 18 just since 5:30 yesterday. Most have been between the mid-3 and mid-5 magnitude range. But one just before 10 o'clock our time last night was a 6.9. They are all centered in the same area about 2,200 miles west of Seattle.
Yeah, right now we're being told that it's simply too dangerous for us to go deep into that Elfers community where there is still very much high water surrounding those homes and covering the roads in this community of Newport Richey. But as you mentioned, a lot of people ignoring the word that it is dangerous to stay there. Many deciding to stay in their homes overnight despite that high water and the warning that the flooding might get worse before it gets better. We're told that the local river was expected to peak at around 2 this morning, so the Red Cross built shelters to hold well over 300 people created in their local Presbyterian church here on Ridge Road, but very few people were told ended up taking that offer up, many choosing to try to ride out the flooding from their homes despite those dangerous conditions. Now, county officials also telling us that they fear the water levels may not drop very rapidly this morning, especially if there is more rain.
Has shocked the world. The body of a 10-year-old boy, Jeevan Kohar, was found on the outskirts of a remote Nepali village Friday. It now turns out the boy was killed as part of a bizarre human sacrifice. Police say a group of Nepalese men, you can see some of them on your screen, have confessed to the murder. They say a local priest, the man on the right corner of your screen, recommended the killing to save the life of a child of one of the accused, who was sick. 11 people in total have been arrested so far. The authorities say 5 have already confessed. The slaughter of animals like water buffalo and goats are common among Nepal's mostly Hindu population. It is considered to be a way to please God. Government officials say human sacrifices, however, are almost unheard of in modern-day Nepal. In rural parts of the country where access to healthcare is limited, people sometimes turn to holy men for medical help and healing procedures. Officials say they will launch an awareness campaign to prevent any more cases like this. For now, though, too late for 10-year-old Jeevan Kohar.
The British government has been questioned over a secret plan to deploy heavily armed troops on the streets in the event of a terror attack. A prominent lawmaker, Baroness Jenny Jones, has described the move as provocative, saying it could potentially endanger the public. The plan, drawn up by police chiefs and discussed by top government officials, was leaked to the media on Friday. Jones, who sits on London's Police and Crime Committee, called the revelation shocking and demanded a parliamentary debate on the issue. The plan, codenamed Operation Temperer, would see more than 5,000 armed personnel in inner cities in case of terror attacks. Last month, more than 1,000 police officers and soldiers staged a mass exercise to test their ability to respond to a gun attack.
Jeff and Jennifer, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of sockeye salmon, and it's all happening along here, the Columbia River. And it's a problem that's been going on for quite a while, and fish biologists are calling this die-off unprecedented. For Nick Blevins and his family, fishing in the Columbia River is part of their livelihood, and it's being affected by the warmer, drier weather.
The fish are not looking in good condition.
Especially the sockeye salmon.
Some of them will have lesions on them from the scars they get from making their way upriver and stuff, and they just get infected by the warm water.
I found out the cold water species are dying by the thousands. Some even predict more than 250,000 sockeye salmon returning from the ocean to spawn are either dead or dying in the Columbia River. It's this mass die-off that's also affecting other species.
Once they start dying, the sturgeon start feeding off the sockeye, and then that's not good because the sockeye already have gill diseases in them and lesions, and then that's like contaminating the sturgeon to where they're going to die.
In fact, I learned in just the last few weeks, more than 50 sturgeon have died. These pictures taken near Tri-Cities.
The sidelines are no longer an option. Turkey cannot afford to maintain its controversial, albeit cautious approach to the Syrian war raging next door.
There has been a reassessment in Ankara that this policy cannot continue in order for Turkey to be able to persevere and to maintain its own regional influence. It had to be part in a much more visible, concrete way in the entire ISIS coalition.
Turkey is now bombing ISIS targets, and after lengthy negotiations with Washington, conceded on some of its positions, such as demanding strikes on the Assad regime, and agreed to open Turkish bases and airspace to U.S. aircraft to create not a no-fly zone, but a so-called ISIS-free zone.
And the weakness of this plan is essentially about who is going to be on the ground to protect this zone free of ISIS.
And can Turkey protect its own population against ISIS retaliation? Some people even stopped taking the Istanbul metro after unsubstantiated reports that certain stations would be targeted. Turkey also reopened the front with its domestic battle against the PKK, the Kurdistan Workers' Party, which it deems a terrorist organization. A move that severely heightened tensions between the Turks and the Kurds, tensions that in the past 3 decades have claimed some 40,000 lives. Turkey needs to ensure that it has the capital to launch this multi-pronged, contentious anti-terrorism campaign, calling on fellow NATO members to convene a special meeting of the alliance on Tuesday.
Planned Parenthood protesters say they believe Planned Parenthood sells fetal tissue for a profit. They say secretly recorded videos prove it.
The way she was talking about how this could be a Lamborghini payment, how many human lives does it take to pay for a Lamborghini? How many human lives does it take to actually be that down payment?
And to be so nonchalant about their lives, about the fact that they had no choice, about the fact that they're just being sold off as if they're objects and not people.
Planned Parenthood says Santa Barbara's location does not offer patients the ability to donate fetal tissue for research. Other locations in Southern and Central California do, but they say reimbursement only covers clinic costs.
In the video, one of our staff members speaks in a way that does not reflect that compassion. This is unacceptable, and I personally apologize for the staff member's tone and statements.
Many of the Santa Barbara protesters say they oppose the morning after pill and other forms of contraception too. They'd like to see Planned Parenthood shut down.
All life does matter, and we've gathered quite a few people from different spectrums of the world, and we said, let's put it all aside and let's do it for the children.
Presidential contenders are quickly weighing in. While Rand Paul wants to cut funding, Hillary Clinton says the denial of family planning confines women to lives of oppression and that abortions should be safe and rare. Protesters say they'll be back.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Folks, we have reports of a unscheduled blood moon over Russia last night. Now, there's 2 different independent reports that a blood moon was over Russia last night.
This incredible photo came up on my screen as I was surfing the internet,
It's from July 29, 2015, and it was a blood moon that was spotted over Russia.
Against the backdrop of the national gun control debate, Los Angeles has made it against the law to have high-capacity magazines. The city council voted to ban any magazine that can hold 10 rounds or more of ammunition. These magazines have been used in numerous mass shootings in the United States. City Council member Paul Krikorian pushed for the law, saying high-capacity magazines have nothing to do with constitutional rights.
People who are civilians, people who want to defend their homes, people who want to defend their families, don't need a 100-round drum magazine and an automatic weapon to do it.
Gun control advocates and gun violence victims